So this is Hebrews chapter 9, the scripture for the 23rd of October. Many of the details that the author of the book of Hebrews describes about the first covenant would have been reviewed to those who are Hebrews by birth. All those regulations and expectations are all laid out between Exodus 25 and 31, many of them between Exodus 25 and 26. The only exception is you've got this allusion to Aaron's rod, which is actually a kind of an interesting, funky story in Numbers 17. It might be worth taking a look at it. Numbers is a fascinating book worth looking into. Now, all the details here are crucial to get right, since the tabernacle is a physical symbol of a heavenly reality. That's where its power originates, you could think of it as. So, because there's only one time each year that a high priest is permitted to venture into the Holy of Holies to atone for sin, the Holy of Holies is the inner sanctum of the temple, the place that God is most present. And so all of this you need to get right. So that as the high priest comes before God, it's a faithful rendering of what's actually going on. Now, since the sin problem necessitated so great a chasm between God and God's people, it seems clear that this can only be at best a provisional solution. You can't keep having sinful people going in and out before God's presence. They won't be able to remedy the issue. But as the author of Hebrews suggested in chapter 4, Jesus serves as the true, effective high priest. He comes from among the people, having lived life as a human being, so he can intercede on their behalf. But being free from sin, he can stand in God's presence eternally, living as the spotless lamb. His sacrifice is priceless and unblemished. Now, because we all, as sinners, have died to sin, we're eligible for this new covenant. This is similar to marriage in that the Mosaic covenant of the law was sort of till death do you part. This is also similar to Paul's argument in Romans that because we're dead to sin, we can become alive to Jesus Christ. Now, it isn't as though this old covenant in the law was bad, far from it. This is just this new covenant in Scripture. Being more perfect, it's even better. So instead of repeated sacrifices and concern on a daily basis about sin's stain on our lives, this new covenant is set into motion with a single perfect sacrifice made by a single perfect high priest, once for all. And we don't have to worry about whether this is effective with God or not, because it's happening. It takes the place of the Aaronic priesthood and delivers to God the ability to forgive our sin over and over and over and over again. Now we might wonder, well, why didn't God just wipe away sin without dealing with the whole violent issue and nonsense? Well, why did Jesus have to die? Well, the author of Hebrews gives a brief answer to this, anchored in Old Testament sacrifice law. Without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness from sin. By facing death through crucifixion, Jesus offered his very body on the cross on behalf of human beings. His perfection absorbed and removed completely our sin. This means that when he returns in the last days, he's not coming to deal with sin anymore. He's already done that. He's coming to put right the world. That means to bring those who believe in him into heaven with him and to serve justice to all those who don't. And we can look forward to him putting all things right because our sin is dealt with. Thanks be to God. Now I wonder, what sin do you struggle to let God deal with in your life? That's all for Hebrews chapter 9. On Monday the 26th, we'll look at Hebrews chapter 10. May God bless you in your reading of Scripture.